weirdos!
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, all you weirdos. Jim here to review The Incredible Hulk #1, written by Phillip Kennedy Johnson with art by Nic Klein. Now, I know a lot of people were pumped for this Phillip Kennedy Johnson run to start. After the book was announced, his comments made it very obvious that not only was he a huge fan of Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk, but he was going to lean heavy into Ewing's run to tell his story. It always shocks people when I tell them that I'm one of 3 people on Earth who didn't love Immortal Hulk. Not saying it wasn't good, it just wasn't for me. I read every issue, but I did have to take a bunch of breaks while it was coming out. And hey, it was insanely popular, famously outselling Batman at one point. So why not hitch your wagon to that? Now, I guess Phillip Kennedy Johnson could fear that fans might reject something so similar to Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk, not written by Ewing himself, or they might just want something different. But Phillip Kennedy Johnson has something else going on here that kind of benefits him, and that something else is Donny Cates. Donny Cates' Hulk book was a disaster. It's unfortunate personal issues prevented him from even finishing it himself, but even before that, a lot of readers, myself included, were struggling with the Starship Hulk concept. Hey, it was different from Immortal Hulk, though looking back at it, it could end up being kind of the new Coke of Hulk books, because now that Phillip Kennedy Johnson arrives here with what feels like Coke Classic, I don't know, maybe Hulk fans will fall in love with this all over again. Now, the issue starts with a pretty cool flashback that gets the big Mother of Horror story going. And it's horror comics to 100%, turn it up to 11. And while I'm not a big horror comic fan, I do love anything that has an Indiana Jones feel to it, except maybe the Crystal Skull, and that's what you get here. And then with the Green Door name drop, we are off and running. Now, I don't think I was blowing anybody's mind saying that this book is leaning heavy into the Immortal Hulk. It's very obvious, but Phillip Kennedy Johnson also references Donny Cates' run and uses that as a setup as well. And if you've read anything from Phillip Kennedy Johnson, you know that he's good like that. He does honor what came before him, whether it was good or bad, and a lot of times he'll try to make the bad into something good. Now, that's awesome. I give him all the props for that, though sometimes it does make the pacing and the momentum of the book early on, it slows it down a bit. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen here, though, so that is a good thing. Now, after that cool start, which looked awesome thanks to Nic Klein's art, we get Bruce heading into a diner, looking for a couple sandwiches, and as we learn, trying to avoid the Hulk. There's still a lot to find and figure out here, but it felt classic, and I was intrigued to see the FBI trying to find Banner and Hulk for Tony Stark, while what appears to be the big bads, with the connection to that first scene, doing the same. While this is going on, we're introduced to a young girl named Charlene, who, while trying to get away from her piece of shit dad, crosses paths with the Hulk. And they have a lot of similarities here. They both have a leave me alone policy and also have sus dads. So I think that it's very obvious they will be teaming up and hitting the road together, starting with the cliffhanger of this issue. Now, by the end of the issue, we also get some cool Hulk cameos, and the eldest, who is the woman in charge of the big bads, sending out a shout out to all the Marvel monsters to rise up against the Hulk and get this Mother of Horrors party started. And I was pretty excited by the end. And I did read this issue a couple of times, and each time I liked it a bit more. Now, I keep talking about the Immortal Hulk feel this book has. It's obvious. Everybody's going to think that. But I'll tell you, on my third read-through, I realized something else. I realized that this issue was giving me big Donny Cates vibes. And I'm not talking about the Hulk. I'm talking about Donny Cates' Venom, which I really enjoyed. And with this addition of Charlene and how things were playing out, it really does feel to me like the beginning of Donny Cates' Venom, once you ended up having Eddie and Dylan together, kind of, going and doing their thing. And I think that we may end up having a very similar feel with this, combined with the Immortal Hulk. That's a pretty good combination. right there, especially with what we had gotten from both Donny Cates and Al Ewing in the past. So I'm pretty pumped about that. And I wonder if anybody else got that feel as well. But all in all about this, I did like it. When I first read it, I was a little down on it. I didn't think that it was for me again. I was like, it's real big, Immortal Hulk. But each time I read it and kind of thought of other things, especially this Charlene character is what really did intrigue me and really did kind of separate it from the Al Ewing Immortal Hulk stuff. So we'll see how that works out. I hope that she is here for the long run. I think that's a really, really cool addition to hang out with Banner and Hulk. And so really by the end, including the really great art, I did enjoy this and I'm pumped up for the next issue. And because of that, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. And I'm wondering what everybody else feels. If you were an Immortal Hulk fan, do you like this with the vibes that it has going on? And I really want to know, did anybody else get the feel of Donny Cates' Venom here? Because I may be the only one. Maybe I'm crazy, but let me know in the comments below. Let me know all that. Let me know what you think of Phillip Kennedy Johnson, the Hulk, everything. And with that, though, I will talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.